Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your kind attention, please? देवियों और सज्जनों, क्या मैं आपका ध्यान आकर्षित कर सकता हूं? बहुत शुक्रिया। सभा में हलचल है, ये हलचल थम जाए तो फिर बात आगे बढ़े। Requesting all the dignitaries to please take their seats. We are all set to begin with the program. जी बहुत बहुत आभार, बहुत बहुत आभार। कृपया आसन ग्रहण करें सर। सर नहीं सर, मैं यहाँ पर खड़ा हूँ किसी काम के लिए। बहुत शुक्रिया जी, बहुत आभार। प्लीज 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 टेक योर सीट सर, प्लीज टेक योर सीट सर। आनंद मंगल मंगलम नित प्रियम भारत भारतम, स्वागतम अथ स्वागतम, स्वागतम शुभ स्वागतम। A very warm and lovely evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I extend my hearty welcome to one and all present here in this august gathering. And the reason, the purpose, the objective of this gathering is known to all of us. Isn't it, my dear friends? Yes, we are here to celebrate the words, imagination, creativity. So today, it is not going to be just a book launch. Rather, we are going to unveil the world crafted with passion and purpose. As we are aware of the fact that books are not mere pages, they are far more than that. They are emotions, experiences, journeys that connect hearts across time. And every book carries within it a piece of author's soul. So today, we are going to witness that beautiful offering, which is titled as Unveiling India, authored by Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh. एक बार पुनः उपस्थित समस्त देवियों और सज्जनों का इस सभा में हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन, अभिवादन। साथियों, आप जानते हैं कि हमारे देश ने हाल ही में हमारे राष्ट्रगीत वंदे मातरम के 150 वर्ष मनाए हैं। And the song, the national song, right from the pages of Anand Math to the lips of the freedom fighters, has taught us the patriotism. From the poetry, it became the slogan that shook an empire. तो जब हम हिंदुस्तानी, हम भारतवासी अपने इस देश में किसी भी कार्यक्रम का आरंभ करते हैं, तो भारत सरकार का ये आदेश है कि हम अपने कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ राष्ट्रगीत से करें। So requesting all of you to kindly rise in the honor of our national song, Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sheetalam, Shasya Shamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Shubhra Jyotsnam Pulakitayamini, Pulya Kusumita Drumadala Shobhini, Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Koti Koti Kantha Kala Kala Ninad Karale, Koti Koti Bhujai Vida Kara Karavale, Abala Kyanumarat Bole, Bahubala Dharini Namami Tarini, Vipudaya Varini Mataram, Vande Mataram, Tumi Vidya, Tumi Dharma, Tumi Ridhi, Tumi Marma, Tvam hi Prana Sharire, Bahute Tumi Ma Shakti, Hridaye Tumi Ma Bhakti, Tomorrw Pratima Gadi Mandire Mandire,
हमने देखा कि जब हमारा राष्ट्रगीत वंदे मातरम गाया जा रहा था तो शुरुआत में हम सभी साथ दे रहे थे, बाद में धीरे धीरे हमारे जो होठ हैं वो बंद हो गए क्योंकि बोल शायद हमें उच्चारण में तकलीफ थी। लेकिन ये भावना है, ये गरिमा है हमारे राष्ट्र की जिसके प्रति हम और आप समर्पित हैं साथियों। इसे बहुत ही सरल और आसान शब्दों में AR रहमान साहब ने संगीतबद्ध किया था, जिसका अभिप्राय होता है, जिसके अर्थात होते हैं माँ तुझे सलाम, वंदे मातरम। आइए साथियों, इस राष्ट्रगीत से हम अपने कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। एंड आई हैव द प्राउड privilege to bring into your kind consideration that we have among us a very renowned, very dignified personality who is known to be as the divine scientist of the nation. You can clap, of course you can clap. Who is referred to be as the Rashtra Guru by Shri Mukesh Ambani ji himself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is none other than Padma Vibhushan, Professor M.M. Sharma ji, who will be presiding over the function. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the chief guest of the day, chief guest of the function, from a very highly reputed business tycoon family. Yes, Dr. Firoja Godrej, the chairman of Godrej Archive Council and founder of Simroja Art Gallery. We welcome you, ma'am. जोरदार तालियों से हम महोदया का स्वागत कर रहे हैं। और आज के हमारे सम्मानित अतिथि, द गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर ऑफ टुडेज फंक्शन, मिस्टर सुशील बोर्डे जी, हेड ऑफ रिलायंस इनोवेशन लीडरशिप सेंटर एंड ट्रस्टी ऑफ अंजलि माशेलकर फाउंडेशन। सर, वी एक्सटेंड ए हार्टी वेलकम टू यू सर। और हमारे बीच में गणमान्य जनों की श्रृंखला में फ्रॉम द डिस्टिंग्विश्ड डिग्निटरीज वी हैव अमंग अस पद्मश्री कुमार केतकर जी, अ विजनरी जर्नलिस्ट, पॉलिटिकल थिंकर एंड अ पब्लिक इंटेलेक्चुअल। फिर हमारे बीच में है श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी, फाउंडर ऑफ C-Tech कॉर्पोरेशन, केमिकल टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट एंड अ पर्पसफुल इनोवेटर। वी एक्सटेंड ए हार्टी वेलकम टू यू टू सर। और फिर हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं सीधा पब्लिशिंग हाउस से, जी हाँ, मैडम शीतल बगवे जी, द फाउंडर ऑफ सैम्स डिजिटल एंड पार्टनर, सुंदरम डिजिटल पब्लिकेशन हाउस। अब हमारे बीच में हैं डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी, द ऑथर हिमसेल्फ, फॉर्मर वाइस चांसलर यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मुंबई एंड एडजंक्ट प्रोफेसर ICT मुंबई। तो हमारे ये जो गणमान्य जन हैं, पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर M.M. शर्मा जी, डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी, मिस्टर सुशील बोर्डे जी, पद्मश्री कुमार केतकर जी, श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी, मैडम शीतल बगवे जी एंड डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी। आप सभी गणमान्य जनों से मेरी ये गुजारिश है, मेरा ये अनुरोध है, मेरी ये प्रार्थना है कि कृपया आप मंच पर आगमन करें और अपने शुभ हस्तों से, अपने कर कमलों से दीप प्रज्वलन कर आज के कार्यक्रम का विधिवत शुभारंभ करें। आग्रह सभी गणमान्य जनों से, रिक्वेस्टिंग ऑल द डिग्निटरीज टू काइंडली कम ऑन द डायस। पद्मश्री कुमार केतकर जी, अ विजनरी जर्नलिस्ट, पॉलिटिकल थिंकर एंड पब्लिक इंटेलेक्चुअल, आई informed it to you, sir. And Shri Chaitanya Joshi ji, the founder of C-Tech Corporation, chemical technologist and purposeful innovator. Madam Sheetal Bagwe, the founder of SAMS Digital and partner, Sundaram Digital Publication House. Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji, the author, and he is a former Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai and adjunct professor, ICT Mumbai. Along with the dignitaries, Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma ji, Dr. Firoja Godrej ji, Mr. Sushil Borde ji. We are doing the honors of lighting the lamp, the sacred and illustrious tradition of our nation, हमारे देश की विशुद्ध और समृद्ध पारंपरिक परंपरा जिसका निर्वहन हम करने जा रहे हैं साथियों। तालियों की गूंज के साथ और जैसे जैसे दीप प्रज्वलित हो रहा है, आपकी तालियां गुंजायमान कर रही हैं इस सभा को और ये संदेश दे रही हैं कि सकारात्मक ऊर्जा का प्रकाश इस सभा से उठ करके पूरे विश्व में फैल जाने को बेताब है, बेसब्र है। और दीप प्रज्वलन की सुंदर परंपरा के साथ गुफ्तगू करते हुए हमारे गणमान्य जन, जी हाँ, साथ में चर्चा और भारतीय सांस्कृतिक परंपरा का सुंदर निर्वहन हो रहा है। हमारी मुख्य अतिथि महोदया डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी, जिन्हें हम देख रहे हैं नारी शक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व करती हुई, वो मंच पर इस समय हैं। हमारे सम्मानित अतिथि श्री सुशील बोर्डे जी, पद्मश्री श्री कुमार केटकर जी, श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी, मैडम शीतल बगवे जी एंड द ऑथर डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी। आप सभी से आग्रह है कि कृपया अपना आसन ग्रहण करें। रिक्वेस्टिंग ऑल द डिग्निटरीज टू काइंडली ऑक्यूपाई योर सीट्स ऑन द डायस सर एंड मैम। मैडम, जैसा आप चाहेंगे वहाँ से ऑर्डर तैयार हो जाएगा। बिल्कुल आप निश्चिंत रहें, क्योंकि आप हमारी नारी शक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व कर रही हैं। तो वेयर एवर यू सिट, द ऑर्डर स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम देयर। और एक बार पुनः मंचासीन गणमान्य जनों का एक बार फिर से हार्दिक स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है। जी हाँ, जोरदार तालियों से हम स्वागत कर रहे हैं मंच पर विराजमान हमारे समस्त गणमान्य जनों का। हमने भारतीय सांस्कृतिक परंपरा का निर्वहन किया साथियों। जहां दीप प्रज्वलन की हमारी सुंदर परंपरा का निर्वहन किया गया, हमने देखा कि यह प्रकाश यहां से उठ करके सारे विश्व में फैल जाने को बेताब है। हमारी यही परंपरा हमें ये सिखाती है कि हमारे लिए अतिथि देवता तुल्य होते हैं। जी हाँ, और देवताओं का स्वागत फूलों की खुशबू और गुलों की महक से हो और हमारी सांस्कृतिक परंपराओं से हो तो कार्यक्रम में चार चांद लग जाते हैं। तो आइए हम अपनी इसी परंपरा का निर्वहन करते हुए हमारे बीच में उपस्थित गणमान्य जनों का हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करेंगे। जी हाँ, और ये तालियों की गूंज आपकी साथ साथ जैसे जैसे बजती रहेगी, ये स्वागत और ऊंचा और गरिमामय होता रहेगा। सर्वप्रथम मैं श्री अशोक बगवे जी से गुजारिश कर रहा हूं कि वे कृपया मंच पर आगमन करें और हमारे बीच में उपस्थित मंच के ठीक मध्य में विराजमान पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर एम शर्मा जी का सम्मान करें, उनका स्वागत करें। श्री अशोक बगवे जी स्वागत और सम्मान कर रहे हैं पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर एम शर्मा जी का। शॉल, श्रीफल, फूलों का गुलदस्ता और स्मृति चिन्ह। और इसके बाद मैं गुजारिश कर रहा हूं मैडम शीतल बगवे जी से कि वे हमारी मुख्य अतिथि महोदया डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी का सम्मान करें, शॉल, श्रीफल और स्मृति चिन्ह दे करके। तत्पश्चात मैं गुजारिश कर रहा हूं श्री शिवानंद बगवे जी से कि वे कृपया मंच पर आगमन करें और हमारे सम्मानित अतिथि श्री सुशील बोर्डे जी का स्वागत करें। Requesting Mr. Shivanand Bagwe ji to kindly do the honors of extending a warmth of welcome to our guest of honor, Shri Sushil Borde ji. अशोक बगवे साहब से एक बार पुनः अनुरोध है कि वे हमारे बीच उपस्थित पद्मश्री कुमार केटकर साहब का सम्मान करें। अशोक बगवे साहब, आपसे पुनः अनुरोध की पद्मश्री कुमार केटकर जी के पश्चात श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी का स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। अशोक जी, आपसे एक बार पुनः गुजारिश है, पुनः अनुरोध है कि हमारे बीच उपस्थित श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी का हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। तत्पश्चात श्री शिवानंद बगवे जी से गुजारिश की वे डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी, हमारे जो लेखक हैं, द ऑथर, उनका हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करें। हम देख रहे हैं शिवानंद बागवे जी शॉल से और स्मृति चिन्ह से, श्रीफल से स्वागत कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी का। और इसके बाद शिवानंद बागवे साहब, हम आपसे गुजारिश करते हैं कि कृपया हमारे साथ मंच पर और 2 मिनट बिताएं, क्योंकि ये सम्मान हुआ हमारा पब्लिशर की ओर से, हमारे लेखक महोदय डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी की ओर से भी एक छोटा सा स्मृति चिन्ह हमारे समस्त गणमान्य जनों के लिए है। तो श्री शिवानंद बागवे जी और मैडम शीतल बागवे जी से गुजारिश है कि वे कृपया अपने कर कमलों से हमारे समस्त गणमान्य जनों को वो स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट करें जो हमारे लेखक महोदय उनके लिए लेकर के आए हैं। जी, द टीम में प्लीज कोऑर्डिनेट, मैडम शिवानी एंड श्री उत्सव जी। ये जो स्मृति चिन्ह है, शिवानंद बागवे जी पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर MM शर्मा जी को स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट करते हुए, डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी को स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट करते हुए, सुशील बोर्डे जी को स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट किया गया, पद्मश्री कुमार केटकर साहब, चैतन्य जोशी साहब, और एक बार पुनः आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन। आपसे आग्रह है कि कृपया अपना आसन ग्रहण करें। रिक्वेस्टिंग श्री शिवानंद बागवे जी टू काइंडली टेक हिज सीट्स इन द ऑडियंस गैलरी। जी, और लेखक महोदय की ओर से शीतल बागवे जी कुछ कहना चाह रही हैं। आइए साथियों, कार्यक्रम को आगे लेके चलते हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि कुछ समय, सर कृपया विराजमान हो जाएं, डॉक्टर संजय जी। आपने देखा होगा कि कुछ समय हमारे स्वागत के क्रम में, स्वागत की परंपरा में निर्वहन किया गया। ये इसलिए आवश्यक है साथियों, ये इसलिए अनिवार्य है क्योंकि हमारी सुंदर परंपरा हमें ये सिखाती है कि हमें अतिथियों का स्वागत संबोधन करना चाहिए और उसके पश्चात ही किसी कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए। तो इसीलिए हम स्वागत के इस क्रम को देख रहे थे और अब हम चाहते हैं कि इस सभा का संबोधन करने के लिए पब्लिशर सुंदरम डिजिटल पब्लिकेशन हाउस से हम आवाज़ देने जा रहे हैं मैडम शीतल बागवे जी को। मैडम शीतल जी कृपया मंच पर आगमन करें और सभा का संबोधन करें।
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sheetal Shivanand Bagwe from Sundaram Digital Publication House. With deep honor, I welcome all of you and all the guests on the dais and off the dais to this thought-provoking evening. Launch of the second edition of Envisioning India, authored by Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir, former Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai. This book begins with a very simple yet powerful question. How can a country like India with such a rich past and big dreams move towards true greatness? The answer, as the author shares, is not one thing alone. It lies in bringing everything together: our governance, economy, society, environment, and our values. It reminds us that building a nation is a shared effort. At its core, the book reflects the vision of a Vikasit Bharat by 2047, but it also reminds us that this journey cannot be achieved by the government alone. It needs all of us, our participation, our ideas, and our responsibility. And taking this idea of inclusivity forward, we at Sundaram Publication believes that knowledge should reach everyone. While physical books have their reach, the future is also digital. From the Department of Atomic Energy's DAE Digital Libraries ODOS platform to ICT's Professor MM Sharma Digital Library, we have been steadily expanding our horizons. And today, we are proud to present digital version of Envisioning India second edition, making this important work more accessible to everyone. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma sir for gracing this occasion with his presence today. Sir, it is always inspiring to be around you. I would also like to take this opportunity to share that we will soon be launching the Gujarati edition of Divine Scientist, biography of Professor M.M. Sharma sir, originally authored by Mrs. Anita Patil ma'am, along with a beautifully curated pictorial coffee table book on 1st May 2026. Heartiest congratulations, sir, and thank you for allowing us to be a small part of your extraordinary journey. My sincere thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Firoza Godrej ma'am, and our guest of honors, Shri Sushil Bhode sir, Shri Kumar Ketkar sir, and Shri Chaitanya Joshi sir for your distinguished presence and for making this occasion even more special. Thank you. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir for his collaboration and trust. It is truly a privilege for us to add this remarkable work to our publishing journey. With that, I once again welcome you all and hope you have an inspiring and enriching evening. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत आभार शीतल जी। साथियों, हम सुन रहे थे शीतल शिवानंद बागवे जी को, and she is the founder of SAMS Digital and Sundaram Digital Publication House, where she has played a key role in transforming a remarkable 91-year-old family legacy in printing and publishing into a modern, future-ready enterprise. जी हाँ, एक बार जोरदार तालियों से आप इस्तकबाल, खैर मकदम और धन्यवाद कर सकते हैं शीतल जी का। और नारी शक्ति के रूप में शीतल जी का सबसे पहला संबोधन हमें याद दिलाता है कि बहुत छोटे छोटे प्रयास करके हमें आगे बढ़ना होता है, और ये छोटे छोटे प्रयास ही हमें उस मुकाम तक ले जाते हैं जहाँ पर विकसित भारत का सपना हम देखते हैं। और उस संदर्भ में एक पंक्ति मेरे जहन में आती है कि माना पीपल और बरगद जैसे विशाल हम नहीं, माना कि पीपल और बरगद जैसे विशाल हम नहीं, लेकिन गमले में उगने वाली तुलसी भी किसी से कम नहीं, है ना। तो ये जो तुलसी का पौधा है, पवित्रता का प्रतीक, शायद उसी परंपरा का निर्वहन कर रही थी शीतल जी सर्वप्रथम संबोधन करते हुए। आइए साथियों, कार्यक्रम को आगे लेके चलते हुए अब हमारे बीच में एक ऐसी शख्सियत है जिससे हमें सुनना है, एंड ही इज़ नन अदर देन आवर डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी। बट बिफोर आई इनवाइट हिम, sir, let me tell audience about you, a brief profile of yours. Shri Chaitanya Joshi ji, he represents a rare confluence of scientific rigor, industrial leadership, and ethical clarity, qualities that define not just a professional, but a purposeful innovator. Trained in applied chemistry at the Institute of Chemical Technology, where he graduated as a gold medalist, he has translated academic excellence into a career of enduring impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Shri Chaitanya Joshi ji. Sir, we would like to listen it from you. Shri Chaitanya Joshi ji.
So basically I was going to speak extempore, but then I realized my professor, my teacher, Professor Sharma is here. So he would want us to take detailed notes on everything. And with that fear, I made sure that I wrote down everything. So distinguished guests, distinguished dignitaries, esteemed guests, it is a great honor and privilege for me to be invited by my friend, Professor Deshmukh. He's a great humanitarian and one of the warmest and kindest persons I know. He has touched so many students' lives personally, and he probably does not advertise that, but his friends know how crucial he is in creating lives. So thank you, sir, for your invitation. Now, regarding the book or chronicle, there are moments in the nation's life where it pauses not in hesitation, but in reflection. Moments where it looks within, not merely to remember the past, but to define its future. India stands at such a moment today, a point of inflection. Envisioning India does not look backward. It looks forward. It does not want to rediscover who we are, and we move from discovering India to envisioning India. What makes this chronicle compelling is its sense of responsibility. It is not only content with mere observation, but it demands participation and suggests a way ahead. The work is structured around 7 themes and 52 chapters. Yet these are not mere divisions of content. They are in essence the building blocks of a nation in motion. Each theme addresses a critical dimension of India's journey, and together they form a comprehensive framework for shaping a resilient and developed India. The chronicle begins with a candid acknowledgement of India's challenges: poverty, inequality, governance gaps, but it does not dwell on them. Instead, it reframes these challenges as opportunities and opportunities for transformation. It reminds us that adversity, when met with clarity and resolve, becomes the foundation of progress. It then turns to education, placing it at its heart of national development. Here, education is not treated as a sectoral concern, but as a transformative force, one that empowers individuals, bridges inequalities, and prepares a generation capable of leading in a knowledge-driven world. An educator makes a huge difference in one's life. I was quite a mischievous student, so Professor Sharma's discipline helped me a lot. And like Professor Deshmukh, I'm sure a lot of lives are touched by their teachers, and in so many ways and in so many dimensions that perhaps we don't even recognize that until 10 years or 20 years down the line, when you realize, oh, this is something that we learned in college. So then the theme of social justice follows naturally, emphasizing that no nation can truly advance if any section of its people remain excluded. The chronicle speaks of inclusion not as charity but as necessity, where dignity, opportunity, and access must be shared by all. In this work, economic growth is presented with balance and foresight. It is not growth at any cost, but growth that is sustainable, responsible, and forward-looking. And this aligns with the development environmental stewardship. Equally significant is the emphasis on governance and civic engagement. The chronicle reminds us that democracy does not end with elections. It thrives when citizens participate, when institutions are transparent, and when governance becomes a shared responsibility. Although that is still a long way away, we have begun the journey towards it. Environmental stewardship is crucial, underscoring the need for India's future to align with global sustainability, climate challenges, and these are not distant concerns. We are facing climate change every day and experiencing it every day in India as well. Professor Deshmukh speaks from deep personal experience as one of the key signers for the Vadhavan port, which will become India's largest deep water seaport, where very large crude carriers and ultra-large crude carriers will finally make their way to India. So as an environmentalist, he has contributed in immense ways as well as an educationist. So what distinguishes this work is not merely the breadth of its themes, but the way it connects them. It shows that education influences the economy shapes equity, equity strengthens governance, and governance sustains development. In this interconnected vision that gives the chronicle its depth and relevance. At a time of global uncertainty, marked by geopolitical shifts, economic disruptions, and environmental challenges, such a work becomes not just relevant, but necessary. It provides a framework for resilience, urging India to build internal strength even as it engages with the world. Perhaps the most powerful message of Envisioning India lies in its call to action. It reminds us that the journey towards a Viksit Bharat by 2047 is not the government's responsibility alone. It is a collective endeavor of citizens, institutions, thinkers, and practitioners. Each chapter in its own way an invitation to think and engage and to act. In that sense, the chronicle is not merely a book. It is a roadmap, a guide that helps us navigate complexity with clarity and purpose. The responsibility of building a Viksit Bharat by 2047 does not belong to the government alone. It belongs to the teacher in the small school, the small village school perhaps, the entrepreneur who's building a new idea, the scientist in the laboratory, the administrator shaping policy, and the citizen chooses integrity over convenience. Professor Deshmukh always stops at a red light. So whether there is traffic or not, he will always follow the law. So this is intrinsic. Building integrity and moral character is something that we learn from our educators. As we reflect on its ideas, we are reminded that nations are not built by chance. They are built on conviction, on consistently made choices, on collectively taken actions, and on a shared belief in a common future, and most crucially, a vision. And this chronicle, in its quiet yet compelling way, asks each of us a simple question: not what India will become, but what we will contribute to its building. The chronicle is not asking us to admire India, it is asking us to build India. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because the journey to 2047 has already begun, and the question before is not whether India will rise, but only how fast. The journey to 2447 has already begun. The path lies before us. The vision is clear. What remains is only our resolve. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Shri Chaitanya Joshi ji. And sir, thank you very much for sharing your insights about the book. Or you said it very right, sir. You said it right. When the professor is sitting, we need to take out the paper. Huh. Yes. Acha, right now. Huh. But then you started with like you want to take out the paper because your professor, your teacher is sitting. Hai na? Thank you very much. And he got the compliment from the professor that he did a good job. So we can clap for him. Chaitanya ji के लिए हम जोरदार तालियां बजा सकते हैं. और सर ने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि डिस्कवरी ऑफ इंडिया, जिसका एग्जीबिशन अभी हॉल ऑफ कल्चर सेंटर फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे चल भी रहा है, वहाँ से लेकर के एनविजनिंग इंडिया तक हम पहुँच रहे हैं. और विकसित भारत का जो सपना है वो केवल सरकार का नहीं है, वो एक छोटे से स्कूल में बैठे हुए अध्यापक का भी सपना है और उसका कर्तव्य भी है. और कबीर जी ये कहा करते हैं कि संत कबीर कि काल करे सो आज कर, आज करे सो अब. सो दैट इज़ व्हाट ही वाज मेंशनिंग कि विकसित भारत होगा, लेकिन नॉट समडे, नॉट टुमारो, इट्स नाउ. है ना सर? बहुत शुक्रिया आपके इस सुंदर अल्फाज के लिए, आपके इस सुंदर ज्ञान के लिए. हम जोरदार तालियों से एक बार फिर आभार करना चाहेंगे श्री चैतन्य जोशी जी का. एंड नाउ लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, we have received a message in the form of video, and this video is generated through AI. And this message is received from Dr. रघुनाथ माशेलकर जी. और रघुनाथ माशेलकर जी के उस वीडियो क्लिप को, उस मैसेज को हम जाने देखें उससे पहले आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू अबाउट हु डॉक्टर रघुनाथ माशेलकर जी इज. He is a Padma Vibhushan awardee. So Padma Vibhushan Raghunath Mashelkar ji says, and what about him? Dr. Raghunath A. Mashelkar stands as one of the India's most luminous scientific minds, a visionary who has seamlessly bridged laboratory science with national transformation. A fellow of the Royal Society and a Padma Vibhushan awardee, he has over 5 decades of experience which shaped India's innovations ecosystem with rare intellectual clarity and moral purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put hands together to listen to Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar ji's message.
Namaskar, that distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, fellow citizens of this great nation, and above all, the bright minds of Bharat's tomorrow who have gathered here today. I speak to you not merely as a scientist or policy maker, but as a devoted son of this soil. And today, my heart swells with pride and purpose as I offer my reflections on one of the most outstanding works I have come across in recent times, Envisioning India, by Professor Sanjay Deshmukh. This is not just a book, it is a manifesto, a magnum opus, a meticulously architected roadmap for a Viksit Bharat, our collective dream for a developed, empowered, inclusive and leading India realized within the centenary of our independence. As I turned each page of this chronicle, I felt a resonance deep within. It was almost as if Professor Deshmukh had peered into the recesses of my own life's journey, into the laboratories where I toiled, into the policy rooms where I envisioned, into the podiums where I spoke of a new India and then echoed it all with purpose and scientific precision. Ladies and gentlemen, I have had the privilege of contributing to India's scientific and innovation ecosystem for over 5 decades. Whether it was championing Gandhian engineering, more from less for more people, or pushing for inclusive innovation that touches the lives of the last Indian standing in the queue, my life's work has centered around one enduring question, and it is here that Envisioning India becomes not just a book, but a practical guide, a symphony where equity and efficiency, growth and grassroots, tradition and technology all dance together on the pages in perfect harmony. Professor Deshmukh, with the mind of a scholar and with commitment, weaves 52 chapters across 7 transformational sections. He does not merely diagnose India's ailments, he prescribes, prognosticates and proposes possible paths. Let me share with you why I believe this chronicle deserves not just national celebration, but global recognition, why I say without exaggeration that it is worthy of a greater recognition in all the sections of society, nationally as well as universally. In 2008, I wrote Reinventing India, reflecting on how innovation, policy reform and people's participation could redefine our development model. Today, Professor Deshmukh has extended this logic and is rescripting India. He articulates the science of nation building with empirical depth, and he brings a rare lens of systems thinking, just as we scientists do when we design experiments that connect variables across space and time. His focus on human capital, inclusive governance, environmental stewardship, grassroots empowerment, and digital infrastructure, these are not disjointed ideas. They are interdependent levers of transformation, much like how molecules interact to form matter with new properties. And here is what touched me most. His chapters echo the very themes that shaped my life's work: innovation for inclusion, sustainability with equity, and knowledge-driven development. In a time when the world grapples with fragmentation, India must rise as a force for cohesion, and Professor Deshmukh rightly puts resilience at the heart of our transformation, not just economic resilience, but social, institutional, ecological, and emotional resilience. Just like polymers strengthen with the right molecular architecture, India too will strengthen when we align its structural frameworks, education, healthcare, governance, with adaptive design and ethical foundations. Professor Deshmukh shows us how democracy must not be a ritual of voting, but a culture of continuous civic participation, how economic growth must not be a race to the top, but a rising tide that lifts every boat, how sustainability must not be a checkbox, but a compass for a developed nation. This is resilience redefined, and it is not theoretical. It is rooted in India's soil, its struggles, its potential. Throughout my career, from chairing innovation councils to shaping science policy, I have emphasized that India's truest wealth lies not beneath its earth, but between the ears of its people. And Professor Deshmukh recognizes this too. He does not stop at education for all. He calls for education for excellence, for curiosity-led, creativity-fueled, and compassion-centered learning ecosystems. He understands that without transforming our education and skill development pipelines, we cannot populate our industries, our labs, or even our governance structures with minds ready for the future. What touched me most was his section on empowering youth, not just as beneficiaries of policy, but as partners in policy making. This echoes what I have always said: India's youth are not just the future of India, they are the architects of its present. Dear friends, I have always believed that India is not an idea that was born, it is a civilization that continues to become. Professor Deshmukh captures this essence with reverence and relevance. His reflections on social justice, women's empowerment, cultural diversity, and indigenous rights are not mere idealism. They are structured strategies for building a society that celebrates its differences without compromising its unity. Just as I saw in my scientific journey, where the most complex systems are the most robust ones, India's diversity is not its challenge, it is its strength, its superpower. The final section of the book, Envisioning India, is where Professor Deshmukh lifts our gaze to the horizon of 2047. He shows us a digital India, a green India, an entrepreneurial India, a compassionate India. His call for Antyodaya, the rise of the last person, is a spiritual echo of Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Abdul Kalam. As I read his vision, I thought of how India is not rising for itself. It is rising to serve the world. With our spiritual heritage, scientific minds, and scalable solutions, India is poised to lead not by dominion but by Dham. In that sense, this is not just a roadmap for India, but a civilizational model of growth with grace, speed with soul, and power with purpose. So today, as I speak to you, honored and humbled, I offer not just praise but a call. Let every student read this book as a mission statement. Let every policymaker treat it as a possible blueprint. Let every entrepreneur use it as a compass. Let every teacher bring it into the classroom. Let every citizen hold it close as a promise of what India can become. In 2047, when the world will look back and ask how India became a beacon of progress and peace, I am convinced this chronicle will be cited with recognition. To Professor Sanjay Deshmukh, I deeply appreciate not only your scholarship but your vision. To your synthesis of intellect and empathy, you have not just envisioned India, you have reawakened it. As I reflect on your work, I am reminded of the Upanishadic wisdom, Uttishta Jagrat Prapi Varan Nibodat. Arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Friends, the goal is Viksit Bharat. The means is this vision. The time is now. Let us rise. Let us be this. Let us envision and then realize the India that will not only stand tall in 2047, but will also help the world stand together. Jai Hind, Jai Viksit Bharat.
जी बहुत शुक्रिया. दिस वाज डॉक्टर रघुनाथ ए माशेलकर जी. जी हाँ, आपको ये अंदाज़ा हुआ होगा कि ये AI जनरेटेड वीडियो था. हमने रघुनाथ साहब की वॉइस और उनका जो मैसेज था, टेक्स्ट मैसेज था, उस स्क्रिप्ट को ज्वाइन करके AI से ये वीडियो जनरेट की है. और आप सबसे ये आग्रह है कि जब भी हम किसी बड़े व्यक्तित्व को सुने, उनकी बातों को सुने, तो हम उनका कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करने के लिए, उनको आभार देने के लिए जोरदार तालियों से इस्तेमाल करें. ताकि जी हाँ, डॉक्टर रघुनाथ जी is not present physically here, but then our gratitude should reach to him. And he was mentioning कि 2047 तक, 2047 तक विकसित भारत का जो सपना हमने देखा है वो पूरा होना है. और श्री डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी ने जो विजन रखा है कि साइंटिफिक कंट्रीब्यूशन से हमारा जो रोड मैप होगा वो किस तरह का होगा और किस तरह से हम इंडिया को केवल एक आइडिया बनते हुए नहीं देखते हैं, एक सिविलाइजेशन के रूप में देखते हैं जिसकी जर्नी, जिसकी यात्रा हमेशा निरंतर जारी रहती है. तो बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करते हुए रघुनाथ जी को हम कार्यक्रम को आगे लेके चल रहे हैं. देवियों और सज्जनों, साथियों, अब समय है एक और ऐसे ही गणमान्य शख्स को सुनने का जो इस समय व्यक्तिगत रूप से हमारे बीच में उपलब्ध नहीं है, उपस्थित नहीं है. जी हाँ, देयर इज अगेन ए मैसेज फ्रॉम मैडम अश्विनी भिड़े जी. And before I read out the message of hers, I would like to inform a bit about her to all of you. Ashwini Bhide ji, an IAS officer, and she is a commissioner of Municipal Commissioner, Greater Mumbai, BMC, and she has sent a message, but before that, I'll just let you know about her. Ashwini Bhide stands among that rare cadre of public servants who will offer who do not merely administer systems, they reimagine them. A 1995 batch Indian Administrative Service officer, she has over decades of experience which shaped some of India's most complex urban transformations with a clarity of purpose that is both disciplined and quietly resolute. Now, I'm going to read the message she has sent. So, the message, quote, "It gives me an immense pleasure to note that the second edition of the Chronicle, Unveiling India, is being brought out. The very fact that this work has reached its second edition in such a short span is in itself a remarkable achievement, reflecting both its relevance and the resonance it has found among thoughtful readers. The Chronicle speaks meaningfully about building the foundation of a Viksit Bharat as envisaged by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Its articulation of ideas grounded in experience and enriched by insight contributes constructively to the ongoing national disclosure on development, governance, and social transformation. This accomplishment does not come as a surprise. The work is authored by one of India's distinguished academic thought leaders and former Vice Chancellor of the University of Mumbai, Professor Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji. Yes, you can clap. Drawing upon over 3.5 decades of engagement with diverse segments of Indian society, the Chronicle reflects a rare synthesis of scholarship, administrative understanding, and lived experience. It stands as a thoughtful and timely contribution to the broader project of nation building. I am confident that this second edition will further expand its reach and impact through both personal dissemination and its growing digital presence, engaging a wider audience and inspiring informed dialogue. I convey my best wishes for the continued success of this important endeavor and for its wider circulation in the years ahead." Unquote. दरअसल होता ये है कि हम सत्यनारायण की कथा कितनी बार भी सुने, लेकिन हमें आहुति कब देनी होती है इसे पता नहीं होता। जब तक पंडित ये नहीं कहता कि स्वाहा, तब तक हम वो आहुति छोड़ते नहीं हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि मुझे उस पंडित वाली भूमिका में आना पड़ेगा। तो जब जब मैं कहूंगा कि स्वाहा, इसका मतलब है कि आपको तालियां बजानी है। स्वाहा। जी हाँ, हम अगर ये काम करते रहेंगे तो इससे दो बातें होंगी। एक कि सभा में जिंदा दिली रहेगी, हम लोग गर्म जोशी से चीज़ों का स्वागत करते रहेंगे। दूसरा, अगर आपको झपकी आ रही है, अगर आपकी पलक झपक रही है तो वो नहीं होगा। और तीसरा, आपका स्वास्थ्य वर्धन होगा, बिकॉज इट वर्क्स एज एन एक्यूप्रेशर टू, है ना। तो हम तालियां बजाते रहेंगे, आभार व्यक्त करते रहेंगे। जी हाँ, बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत शुक्रिया। आइए साथियों, अब तालियां बजाने की इसलिए भी जरूरत थी, आपको जगाने की इसलिए भी जरूरत थी कि अब जो कार्यक्रम का रुख जिस तरफ जा रहा है, वहां वी आर गोइंग टू हियर, टू लिसन from the author himself. But before I invite Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji, let me tell you a brief about him to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we will be listening from the author himself, Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji. Senior Professor Sanjay Sindhu Vasant Deshmukh stands among India's foremost intellectuals, embodying a rare synthesis of academic thought leadership, scientific inquiry, and public statesmanship. A distinguished life scientist and institution builder. He served as the youngest Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, where he led phase 2 of 6 transformative reforms that aligned higher education with global standards, transparency, and employability. With over 3 decades of field research spanning more than 50 countries, his pioneering contribution to mangrove ecosystems and ecological conservation have shaped global strategies and mobilized substantial international resources. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to hear it right from the author, Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji. Sir, we are eagerly waiting to you to come to the podium, to the stage, and share your views, share your thoughts. Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji.
Namaskar, good evening everybody. It's a great honor to stand before you, not as an author, but as a spectator who has seen the journey of this chronicle called Envisioning India. The simple proof of what this book has made an impact upon is the reflections of those who have read the book. Almost 1,000 copies of the first edition. They were exhausted, and that is how we thought of going for the second edition. The most important aspect of this journey has been the personal experiences that I have undergone throughout my life, both at personal and professional level, and the experiences that I have gathered through exposure to various segments of society with which I had an opportunity to work. Today we have Padma Vibhushan awardee and what the entire world calls or refers as Guru Nam Guru, where a conglomeration of first generation, second generation, third generation, and fourth and fifth and sixth, where he started guiding first generation, then they became guides, they started guiding second. And that is how the tree of PhDs that have been produced by one single gene called Professor M.M. Sharma has gone beyond 1,500 PhDs so far. And that journey, I personally feel that nowhere in the world, anybody, individual has been able to contribute to society. And it's not just chemical engineering, but the work for societal relevance. And that is how, when a person like him decides to bless this occasion by sheer presence, and of course, he had read the first edition of the book and spontaneously agreed to chair this session, is an inspiration, and inspiration to do something more. The responsibility grows. We have Firoza Ben, whom of course I know for more than 40 years, and she also has been an inspiration by not only her own work, but the legacy she carries through the society, through the family called Godrej, and the contribution to society by way of providing breathing spaces for the city of Mumbai, the largest density in a mega city with minimum geographical area, and providing that space of 4,000 acres of mangroves by protecting it for more than 125 years. That itself is an example of how the world is looking at one of the very unique megacities where besides 1/6 of its geographical area, which is protected as Sanjay Gandhi National Park, but more than that, the second largest ecosystems of carbon sequestration are protected by this very family. We have one of the nation builders, Professor Mashelkar, student of Professor Sharma, and a Padma Vibhushan himself, whom he heard through the AI-generated video, thanks to ICT and National Center for Science Communicators, who put together these efforts. And he has been talking about for more than 50 years to grow more from less for more. And that philosophy has been brought into a conglomeration of ideas put together by Professor Mashelkar himself, along with Shri Sushil Bordeji, the leader of innovation setup of the Reliance Industries, where we have a reflection of what one can do by looking at things and to reach the larger segment of society. What are the ways in which you can play with the available material and reach the maximum with impact at a global level? And that is where the idea of bringing the digital format of this chronicle has been a great idea, for which Shri Borde sir has come personally to launch that version of the edition. We have one of the brightest students of ICT, which is now one of the top class universities in the country, with 3.77 consecutively the NAC score during the last 10 years. And the gold medalist and one of the Hall of Fame students, Shri Chaitanya Joshi, who readily agreed to not only study the book which he had read, but talk about it and give a very fine analysis of what I have tried to put together. When I was a child, in my society we had family friends. It was a society, one of the largest in Asia, Shri Ranga Society in Thane. And Kumar Mama, whom I refer to him as Shri Kumar Ketkar, who used to visit our society very frequently because his sister used to reside in our society. And since those days, for more than 50 years, he has seen my journey as a child, as a student. And then, of course, he was the first to felicitate me even when I had not taken charge as the Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, almost 15 days ahead of my taking charge. So the confidence that he has shown in my abilities and encouraged me. आपण ज्याला व्यासंगी म्हणतो मराठीमध्ये, तर असे व्यासंगी लोक खूप दुर्मिळ आहेत आणि त्यामधले एक कुमार केतकर साहेब आहेत असं मी मानतो. आणि त्यांना मिळालेले पुरस्कार याच्यापेक्षा त्यांनी केलेलं वाचन, कमीत कमी 15,000 पुस्तकं त्यांच्या स्वतःच्या संग्रहात आहेत आणि ती सर्व त्यांनी वाचलेली आहेत. आणि अनेक वेळा मी त्यांच्याकडे गेलो आहे, त्यांच्याशी चर्चा केली आहे. आणि या पुस्तकाच्या आधी त्याचे मी ब्लॉग्स लिहायचो आणि प्रत्येक ब्लॉग त्यांनी वाचलेला आहे. आणि त्यातनं जेव्हा याची निर्मिती झाली तेव्हा त्यांनी त्याचं खूप कौतुक केलं. So it is a great honor to have him on the dais, and he will be also speaking, giving his feelings about it. I have several, almost everybody from whom I have learned who are in the audience, and many more. And it's a journey where I believe that I am very fortunate to have met people at every segment of my life where I have drawn inspiration. And it doesn't happen normally, because when you attempt writing your own biography or autobiography at some stage of your life, then you have dedication where you dedicate your work or life to a limited number of people. But here the list goes on and on, which if you read in the dedication page. What I'm trying to say here is the nation which has been a civilization, not just a gathering of different castes and religions. And in this nation, if you are born, then we are very fortunate to have got exposure in a true secular manner, where we have gone beyond human backgrounds, and that itself is seen in our society. And this very gathering reflects that people from different backgrounds, professional backgrounds, personal accomplishments, and also the thought processes which each one of them believe. And they have been able to contribute to society to such a large extent. We have our country with 65% population contributing directly or indirectly to one activity called agriculture. But the contribution of that is only 12%. So how do we really look at coming to a concept of evergreen revolution from the green revolution scenario? And we have people like Shri Saraj Joshi, who started Shetkari Sanghatna, and it has spread like a wildfire, and the nation took cognizance of it. They believed that Sharad Joshi was the one who provided leadership, and that torch has been taken forward by one of his disciples, Shri Pasha Patel, who is present in this gathering, and is also the chairperson of Maharashtra government's committees, particularly on environment and sustainability. He chairs that committee, and also the minimum support price which we have to offer to the farmers. So this itself is a reflection of how people have contributed to the growth of this nation. We have our former Vice Chancellors, Dr. Vijay Khole sir and Dr. Pednekar sir in the gathering, and their contribution to the oldest university in the country, almost 900,000 students, of which about 500,000 pass out every year. And we have 1,200 such universities, but agriculture universities are only 75. And only 75,000 students pass out, which is the number that Mumbai University produces every year at postgraduate level. And we talk about the contribution of agriculture to nation's GDP. How are we going to achieve that? So these are various questions which come to one's mind. And when we talk about building our nation, then we have to forego the philosophy that we come from, the thought processes that we believe. Because when we come to hold a public chair or a responsible position in society, then all our personal things have to be behind us, and we have to truly contribute in secular manner. It is a rare occasion where people from different such thought processes come together to appreciate something which is written by an individual like me. But these are the experiences which I have come across. Many of my friends, well-wishers, mentors, they are all present here. They may be writers, journalists, or individual industry professionals, and many others like lawyers. They have all contributed to the building of this nation, and that is how I have tried to put together the role of each segment or each sector of society. How do we look at their role? What our country has achieved in the last 75 years of its independence, the journey which has been taken forward by different people from different philosophies, but everybody has contributed. And the beginning, when we had the foundations of the nations to build, I think it was a very crucial time where we not only built the institutions which were the foundations of our future generations, but the larger developmental projects at infrastructure level, they were also very crucial. And therefore, everything that has been done has been with vision, has been for the society, and also for the benefit of the entire nation, which today we see the seeds that have been sown in the pre-independence and independent initial stages of the nation. They are bearing fruits today, and we are now considered as one of the most important nations in the world who can control various things without actually contributing to the geopolitical situation that we are in today. And therefore, when we talk about the importance of such writings as I have been able to contribute, I think it's very essential for us to not only look at bringing out editions of this book, but also contributing looking at the Indian knowledge systems, which have given us the basis for many of our innovations. We try to relate many of our outcomes of the research with the past, with the scriptures where there are evidences, but we need to have validation. The medical fraternity and the age of human beings are going to be the two important matters in the 21st century. And we will have to look at how the writings of people in different areas are going to contribute to building of not only the nations, but also longevity of human race. For even though the numbers are increasing, we are the largest in terms of population today. And despite the fact that we have achieved the independence at the food security level, 1/3 of our population still goes to bed one time hungry. And what are these problems that we have to face? We have to actually focus, and how do we have a equitable sharing of resources? And that is where probably the 5 points on which every government, whoever comes to power, I believe that they have to look at these important questions like power, energy, or environment, forests, our resources, agriculture, for example. And if you have a common agenda, whoever comes to power, we have a common agenda for the nation. I'm sure that the country will make huge progress. The national education policy talks about gross enrollment ratio, enhancing that. But are we in a position to really provide that livelihood security to the last individual and the 18 crore population that we have below the age of 25? How are we going to really not educate them, but make them stand on their own feet? Therefore, the role of publishers who looked at the first publication, the price was 1200. It was proposed 24, but I requested the publisher, Shri Anand Limay, to make it 1200. The current publisher, Shri Bagwe sir, madam, they felt it should be still brought down by almost 40%, and now it has been priced at 699 with 3,000 copies of the book. It's practically no profit kind of an activity, and then you have a digital version of that. So it is an attempt to reach largest sections of society with an impact where every individual who appreciates that they have to contribute to this nation, I think this will be one way by which it can be done. And we will have to really come out with solutions by coming together, collaborate, and concentrate on single point agenda that our nation should be the first and we should be able to contribute. Today we have all of you. I am really very touched. I cannot acknowledge everybody, but some of my friends who have come from all the way from the US, my cousin has come from Sambhaji Nagar, and many of my friends who have assembled despite the fact that they have very pressing commitments. I would like to acknowledge presence of all of them. My son, who is in 3rd standard, I was worried at one point of time because I used to work in the office and come very late. I used to tell my wife, one day he will call you and tell, one uncle has come, just see who has come at home. But now I have tried to align my availability at home, but then I am continuously working 8 to 10 hours on laptop. And but he understands. So the hours that he has been able to appreciate, I would really like to acknowledge. And that is how such work comes out. And my mentors, Khole sir, Pednekar sir, who is here, many of them, my brother-in-law, Siddhi Vinayak. He is truly an Einstein, not because of his appearance, but one of the best brains that I have seen in my life. And I'm not acknowledging that because he's my brother-in-law. But we require such people. He's of course now chairing that National Center for Science Communicators. Vittal Nadkani sir. So science today, science now, these publications are going to be very useful. We have one of the top class film producers, Anand is there. There are two Anand. One is building infrastructure and one is building stories to inspire young generations. So I think these are very necessary, and we'll have to go beyond the formal designations, I would say, in society. We'll have to really come out with skill-based contributions, and everybody who is present here, I would like to acknowledge. Many of my colleagues from the university are here. I will not call them everybody by name, but I would like to acknowledge my first time in the history of university, the Vice Chancellor had an OSD from outside the system. And we had 1994 IS actually. She could not join, but Varsha Malhotra is here. She would have been Chief Secretary by now if she had joined. Nitin Karir sir's batchmate. But she had to stay back and serve her parents and left that opportunity. But her principal who allowed her to come as an OSD, thanks to Khole sir also who brought in this idea. These are all various transformations in society which are happening. And that is how we build nations. And my role is minuscule. I would not like to say that it is a great contribution. But this is a small attempt. And Swaminathan sir used to talk about it, that every single drop in the ocean is important. We feel that what is it that we are going to contribute? It may not be even one drop. But the ocean will be less by that one drop if we don't contribute. And that is how I feel this inspiration to write, inspiration to publish, inspiration to imbibe many experiences of life. And I would like to acknowledge all of you who have enriched my life, my family members, my sister, my wife, and everybody related to me directly or indirectly. I would like to acknowledge. And about the book you have seen, people have spoken. I will not talk much, but I'm really honored by your presence, sir. You have contributed so much to enrich myself, and I will continue to do that till whatever best I can. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
साथियों, हम सुन रहे थे डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी को, पुस्तक के लेखक, द ऑथर हिमसेल्फ, who has written the book Unveiling India, and it is the second edition of it. और सर ने बहुत सारी बातें कही कि देश विदेश, महाराष्ट्र, मुंबई, आसपास से लेकर के दूर दराज तक के सभी साथियों का, सभी गणमान्य जनों का यहाँ पर आगमन हुआ है। प्रथम पंक्ति पर विराजमान समस्त गणमान्य जनों से लेकर के अंतिम पंक्ति तक जितने भी सदस्य यहाँ पर हैं, उन सबको आप एक्नॉलेज कर रहे थे सर। और एक मनुष्य होने के नाते, एक अच्छा ह्यूमन बीइंग होने के नाते ये ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि जिस भाव से आप लिख रहे हैं, राष्ट्र के प्रति समर्पित भाव से, और जब आपने ये कहा कि मैं घर को समय नहीं दे पाता हूँ, परिवार को समय नहीं दे पाता हूँ, एंड देयर इज़ गोइंग टू बी अ डे व्हेन माय सन वुड कॉल कि अंकल घर पे आए हैं, तो बट देन आफ्टर दैट यू सेड कि ही अंडरस्टैंड्स टू। तो आपको पता है इस सभा में सबसे ज़्यादा तो जोरदार तालियां उसी ने बजाई थी, है कि नहीं? तो ये राष्ट्र के प्रति आपके कर्तव्य को हम समझते हैं। और आपने अपनी बातों के दौरान ये भी कहा कि हमें एक अपने स्वार्थ को छोड़ करके, है ना, हमारे पर्सनल एजेंडास को छोड़ करके हमें होल हार्टेडली वी नीड टू कंट्रीब्यूट। और हम कहीं पर जो फंसे हुए हैं, हमारी एग्रीकल्चर की बात आपने की, वो जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं राष्ट्र के निर्माण में हमें छोटे छोटे मुद्दों को हटा करके पूर्ण समर्पण भाव से आगे बढ़ना होगा। यही संदेश दे रही है एनविजनिंग इंडिया। साथियों, जी हाँ, तालियां, स्वाहा। मैं आपको इस विषय पर होल हार्टेडली कंट्रीब्यूशन, अपनी सारी चीज़ों को, अपने स्वार्थ को, अपने निजी चीज़ों को साइड में रख देने से, मैं एक पंक्ति में अगर इसे बयान करना चाहूँ आपकी सारी बातों को कि क्या क्या बनाने आए थे, क्या क्या बना बैठे, क्या क्या बनाने आए थे, क्या क्या बना बैठे, कहीं मंदिर बना बैठे, कहीं मस्जिद बना बैठे, हमसे तो जात अच्छी है परिंदों की, कभी मंदिर पे जा बैठे, कभी मस्जिद पे जा बैठे, है ना। तो ये सारे भेदभावों से परे हमें पूर्ण रूप से एक हिंदुस्तानी होने का फर्ज निभाना होगा, और तब शायद ये विकसित भारत का सपना दरअसल हम पूरा कर पाएंगे। बहुत आभार आदरणीय डॉक्टर संजय जी। मैं चाहता हूं एक बार जोरदार तालियों से हम आभार व्यक्त करें। एंड यस, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, नाउ इट इज द मोमेंट वी ऑल हैव बीन वेटिंग फॉर। जी हाँ, वो पुस्तक जिसके उद्घाटन के लिए, जिसके अनावरण के लिए आप और हम यहाँ पर हैं, अब वो समय आ चुका है। हम चाहते हैं कि आज की हमारी मुख्य अतिथि महोदया, द चीफ गेस्ट ऑफ टुडेज फंक्शन, वी आर गोइंग टू रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी टू काइंडली डू द ऑनर्स ऑफ अनवेलिंग द बुक एनविजनिंग इंडिया सेकेंड एडिशन। मैं चाहता हूं कि हमारी सभी टीम मेंबर्स पहले पुस्तक ले आए। ये जो स्क्रीन पर पर्दा है, इसके साथ साथ इसका अनावरण होने वाला है। और एंड द बुक एनविजनिंग इंडिया second edition, authored by Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji, is now going to be unveiled by the chief guest. Ji. जी। और ये पुस्तक आपके सामने है। हमारी चीफ गेस्ट महोदया डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी has just done the honors of unveiling the book titled as Envisioning India, second edition, authored by Professor Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji. In presence of the esteemed dignitaries on dais and in the august gathering of all of you, this book is now launched. और हम सब बधाई दे रहे हैं डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी को। संजय जी, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको इस शुभ कार्य के लिए। हम चाहते हैं कि यह पुस्तक यहाँ से निकल करके पूरे राष्ट्र में और फिर पूरे विश्व में फैले और दुनिया देखे भारत को विकसित होते हुए, और उस सपने को साकार करने का पूरा मार्ग प्रशस्त करती हुई ये पुस्तक अनविजनिंग इंडिया इज़ नाउ इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस। और जैसा कि ये भी कहा गया कि जो दाम है उसके आधे कर दिए गए हैं, लगभग 40% डिस्काउंट पे द सेकंड एडिशन इज बीन पब्लिश्ड। यस, थैंक यू वेरी मच शिवानंद बागवे जी और उनकी पूरी टीम का, मैडम शीतल बागवे जी का पूरा कंट्रीब्यूशन है। वंस अगेन हार्टी कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस। एंड नाउ जी हाँ, काइंडली ऑक्यूपाई योर सीट्स डिग्निटरीज, रिक्वेस्टिंग डॉक्टर फिरोजा गोदरेज जी to please be seated, and all the dignitaries are requested to kindly occupy your seats on the dais. And now what we are going to do, we are going to have a look on the intro video, a teaser. The highlights of the book is going to be displayed on the screen through a teaser. ये रोशनी थोड़ी कम कर दी जाए क्योंकि इस पुस्तक की रोशनी अपनी इतनी ज़्यादा है कि अब मंच पर अगर जी हाँ,
Some nations drift through time, others pause, reflect, and choose to shape their own future. Envisioning India emerges from that very moment of pause, not just as a book, but as a conversation, one quietly evolving over decades, born from lived experiences across classrooms, institutions, and the realities of society. At its heart lies a simple yet powerful question: how does India transform its immense potential into a shared destiny, crafted by one of India's distinguished thought leaders and the youngest Vice-Chancellor of the University of Mumbai? This second edition is not just an update, it is a continuation. Wider in vision, deeper in conviction, aligned with the dream of Viksit Bharat 2047. Through 7 interconnected themes and 52 thoughtfully crafted chapters, it connects the dots, a quiet nudge, a timely reminder that the future of India is something we build together.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was the intro video of the book Envisioning India, second edition, authored by Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh ji. And now we have the Kindle edition of it, which is going to be launched right now. And to do the honors, we would request our guest of honor, Mr. Sushil Borde ji, to kindly do the honors of unveiling the Kindle edition of the book. Yes, once again, we are going to see the launch of Kindle edition of the same book, Envisioning India, second edition, being launched by the, yes. This is the Kindle edition, dear friends, launched by our guest of honor, Shri Sushil Borde ji. And you can please occupy your seats, sir. And I'm sure we are going to have one more video. Am I right, Shivani ji? We are going to have one more Kindle edition video, intro video? No, it's done. Yeah. So, फिर एक बार जोरदार तालियों से हम आभार व्यक्त कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर संजय देशमुख जी का, इतनी सुंदर कृति को हमारे सामने लाने के लिए और देश के सामने लाने के लिए, ताकि 2047 तक जो सपना हम देख रहे हैं उसके लिए एक कंक्रीट रोड मैप इज रेडी। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। आइए साथियों, कार्यक्रम को आगे लेके चलते हुए अब हम मंच पर विराजमान गणमान्य जनों के मुखार बिंदु से, उनकी जुबान से उनकी दास्तां सुनेंगे. जी हाँ, we are going to listen right from them, what they feel and what they have to share, what they have to guide it to all of us. And proceeding ahead, we would like to have on the stage Padma Shri Kumar Ketkar Sahab, but then before I invite him on the dais for his insights, I would like to tell all of you a brief about him. Shri Kumar Ketkar ji, he stands among India's most perspective journalists and public intellectuals, a voice that has consistently combined clarity of thought with intellectual courage. With a career spanning over 4 decades across Marathi and English media, he has shared public discourses through incisive analysis and a deep engagement with both national and global affairs. As a former chief editor of leading publications such as Lok Satta and Divya Marathi, he brought out the rare depth, context, and historical perspective to the journalism. And a prolific author and commentator, he continues to engage with contemporary issues, political, economic, and civilizational, offering insights that are both grounded and forward-looking. In him, journalism becomes not merely a profession, but a disciplined pursuit of truth in public life. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the Padma Shri, Shri Kumar Ketkar Sahab. Sir, requesting your gracious presence on the dais, and we are eager to listen from you, sir.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I must say that it is extremely embarrassing for me to be sitting next to Professor M.M. Sharma. He is a legend as is described in the book about him. But apart from being a legend, he doesn't wear that legendary status on his sleeves. He is just like any other common person. And when I came to know his being so common and so great was when about 20 or 25 years ago, there was a proposal to make a film on him, documentary type, biographical sketch film. And somehow I was involved in that. I was involved perhaps because I was a friend of Dr. Bar Phonke and some others. And Bar Phonke belonged to University. So we went there, and first I was told, this is Professor Sharma, maybe about 25 some years ago. So I was quite completely bamboozled. Oh, this is Professor Sharma, about whom I'm here so much. He was not looking Professor Sharma. He was just looking like any other common human being. And therefore, since then I have known him, I have heard about him, I have heard him, and I have met him several times. And therefore, for me, it was truly, not just for the sake of saying, but truly embarrassed to sit beside him. About Sanjay Deshmukh, he just mentioned that I know him for more than 45 some years. When again, he too was not Sanjay Deshmukh. He was not Vice Chancellor, he was just like, and he used to come to my house with my niece. And at that time, I used to be surprised like how many subjects he tackles with. The same thing he has done here also. From education to ecology, from governance to political process. How many subjects he has handled in this? He is a polymath. And such kind of polymaths are not there, many. Luckily, the book is being launched, the second edition being launched, at a place where such things happen. Like Nehru Center, first word very Nehru Center. And then there's a Discovery of India exhibition there. And from Discovery to Envisioning, which is same at that time, about 90 years ago, 85, 90 years ago, Pandit Nehru wrote Discovery of India. At that time, he was envisioning India. So in a way, when he wrote Discovery of India, beginning so many years before, and 17 years approximately before independence. After he became Prime Minister, he continued with that, and there used to be regular Indian Science Congress sessions. Unfortunately, one doesn't hear about them much. But they were the pioneering sort of courses in Indian science and technology development, and therefore we know from IITs to ISRO to ONGC, mention any institution which has science as a base was started during his time and continued during Indira Gandhi's time. Many people think that JNU was started by Nehru. No, it was started by Indira Gandhi in 1969, 5 years after Panditji died. So person who is honored in this place is also honoring Sanjay Deshmukh for continuing the mission which was started by him by Discovery of India. I have not read the second edition, which he has partly abridged and partly accommodated many other things. But I have read the first book quite meticulously and quite clearly, and which I told him even before the exhibition of his book started. Now, every time I felt that the topics that he is discussing are so fundamental in nature, so fundamental that while reading, we realized, my God, this is a problem which we did not understand, that it was so deep and so crisis-ridden. And then he sort of, details the crisis and offers solutions. I wish that the entire bureaucracy in India, state to center, is given this book free of charge to read. Including the PMO. Including the PMO, because that is where most policies are made. And others have to only implement the policies. Only PMO makes the policies, PMO announces. So let PMO also read this. And if PMO had read this before, nearly 2 lakh peasants would not have gathered around Delhi when I was there in Delhi as a member of parliament. 2 lakh peasants gathered around Delhi, sat there, something like 750 peasants died, and till, despite Mr. Pasha's presence, MSP has not been given. So if the PMO officials read the chapters on agriculture and development, in which he gives examples, very good examples, then perhaps such situation will not take place again. And that's why I said, give the books virtually free of charge, but don't give your or Bagwe's cost. Send the bill to PMO. The point I'm trying to say is, it is necessary first, Karl Marx said, unless you understand the world, you can't change it. And then further he said, so many people have interpreted the world philosophically, otherwise, but our task is not to interpret the world. That has been done so many times. Our task is to change the world. Now, how do you change the world? For changing the world, 2 things are required. A, to understand it, and B, to have a program. Both these things are there in Envisioning India. Understanding as well as programmatic action. And that is why I thought when he asked me to be here, I said, but you're putting me along with M. Sharma and so many others who are either students or followers or have done doctorate. I have done nothing. I am not a doctorate in science. I am a journalist. But the difference which any doctorate in any subject and a journalist is, unlike them, journalist knows everything. Journalist knows everything. We can advise anybody from Donald Trump to Vladimir Putin. And we can tell them what should be done. They don't care what we say, but even then we have that power to advise anybody. And in that capacity, I think he felt that such a vainglorious person can be Kumar Ketkar. So I have come with that vanity. I will not wear that vanity while going from here because I will be sitting here next to him. But definitely one can say that today we are living in a very, very paradoxical world. Just now Dr. Mashilkar said, maybe through AI voice, but he said that scientific temper was one of the subjects he discussed. Now, scientific temper was a term actually used for the first time in India by Pandit Nehru. Now we have 25,000 crore rupees, 25,000 crore rupees sanctioned for Kumbh Mela, and the money that is given to him is going to be used to cut nearly 15,000 trees. That is for environment, that is for science, that is for religion, that is for tradition, parampara. So if parampara is to cut 15,000 trees for bringing in something like lakhs of sadhus, I have nothing against them. And so many worshippers at a river which is so small, in a city which enormously small, and in that city, so many people come with creating problems of everything, from toiletries to food to transport, and yet the great Indian nation can sanction 25,000 crore rupees for Kumbh Mela. And Mr. Khole is here, he himself was a Vice Chancellor. Mr. Pednekar is here, he is a Vice Chancellor. How much has been given for R&D into departments of science? Mr. Sharma would know. How much money comes to Department of Science for R&D or even for promotion of science, and how much money goes in Kumbh Mela? This is a paradox we are living in. On the one hand, we have our own satellites going out. I think we sent some 125 satellites, and other countries participated in our project. That is on the one hand. We can generate AI voice for Mr. Mashilkar. That is what we achieve. AI is going to actually transform not only industry, but your and my personal lives are going to be completely transformed by AI. And I think the threat as well as the advantage of AI has not been adequately understood because has not been adequately communicated by the scientific community and by the bureaucracy and of course by political class. AI is going to determine our life completely. I'll just end with Isaac Asimov's story, the gods themselves. And in another one of the stories, Asimov says that when computers were, at that time when AI was not discussed at all, he wrote this just as he wrote Fantastic Voyage in 1946, the surgeries which are being done by robotic and all that he wrote in 1946. Anyway, that apart. So in that story, computers start talking with each other after the ministerial cabinet is over. They said, all these ministers were asking us what to do with this, what to do with that, how many industries are required for this, how many employees will be required for this. Everything we are answering. So why have them? Let us take over. And then computers decide to take over the system. I don't want to go into details, but that was 30, 40, 50 years ago, Asimov wrote. AI will go beyond that. AI will go beyond that. It will actually do that, what was considered as fiction and fantasy. And at that time, you and me will feel we are secondary human beings. The primary human being is AI. And therefore, we have to first get prepared to recognize that we are the first and AI is our creation, and not let AI take over us and overwhelm us. And for that, what is required is scientific temper and education. Unfortunately, Kumbh Mela won't do that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were listening to Padma Shri Kumar Ketkar Sahab, and as he said, the fourth pillar of the society, they know everything. Yes, a journalist know everything, and you have the power to raise your voice, sir, and you have raised it quite well. And as you were telling, AI is going to dominate. Of course, it is going to dominate. In philosophy, it is said, if you cannot be a creator, be creation. But in case of AI, we need to understand that we are the creator, so we should dominate. And we should not allow AI to dominate. Yes, that is the good message we receive. And ladies and gentlemen, let us convey our sincere gratitude to Jihan, Padma Shri Kumar Ketkar Sahab, for his insightful voice. Well, now proceeding ahead with the program, we have to listen to our guest of honor. But before I invite him, it is my duty to tell you all about him. Yes, I am talking about our guest of honor, Shri Sushil Bordeji. Shri Sushil Bordeji represents a new generation of innovation leaders who do not merely participate in change, they design it. As a key force behind the Reliance Innovation Leadership Center and the strategic initiative of the chairman's office at Reliance Industries, he has consistently translated bold ideas into scalable platforms that redefine growth itself. What distinguishes him is his instinct for building ecosystem, from architecting the Reliance Innovation Council, bringing together noble minds and global thinkers, to anchoring the new energy vision for a decarbonized future. His work reflects a deep commitment to innovation that is both transformative and inclusive. In him, one finds not just a leader of enterprise, but a catalyst of possibility, quietly advancing the idea that true innovation is measured not by novelty, but by the lives it transforms. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to listen to our guest of honor, Shri Sushil Bordeji.
Thank you, Prince. Each time somebody introduces me differently, it surprises me that really I have done all this. But anyways, thank you for this. Sheetalji, thank you. Professor Deshmukh, thank you for giving me this honor of sharing the dais with these legends. It's a really humbling experience for me. These are gurus, these are doyens, these are stalwarts, and for me to stand here and share the dais is really a great honor. So thank you so much for this. We talk about gurus. Professor Deshmukh himself was a Kulaguru. But Professor M.M. Sharma, I would say he's a universal guru. In cricket, we have something called as 360-degree batsman. You've heard that term, where he can do a 360-degree job. So I think Professor Sharma to me is a 360-degree guru. Okay. Why do I say that? Well, look at the value that he has created, not only for science, not only for knowledge, not only for technology, but also for industry, for business, for enterprise, for wealth creation for the nation, for national security of our nation, and more importantly, nation building itself. Now that is direct contribution. What has been his indirect contribution? Well, through iconic students like Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, and many others, Dr. Joshi here, that have gone ahead and broken many paths, not only in India, but globally. Now, just imagine, you aggregate that value, the value that Professor Sharma has created, the value that his students have created, and I don't think, sir, there is any Indian who has created, single-handedly created more value than Professor M.M. Sharma. You would agree with me. And of course, Dr. Feroza Godrej. Before I came here, Dr. Mashelkar said, Sushil, please give my regards to, of course, my Guruji, Dr. M.M. Sharma, his Guruji, and to Feroza ji. He said because he considers Dr. Feroza Godrej as one of the best Gandhians he has ever met. That was his qualification, and you can clearly see why. Okay, so while others have generated value, she has protected our value. She has protected our heritage. She has protected our culture. She's protected our history. She's protected our environment. Okay, I'm sorry to hear, Ketkar Sahib, that whatever she has protected is now being cut by giving 25,000 crores. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. And that is what I'm saying. She is actually protecting the environment. And that has been her phenomenal contribution to nation building. And it's not just she has Feroza Godrej, but also the Godrej family through the enterprise, through knowledge, through wealth creation, through job creation. And we can even discuss the benevolence of philanthropy that the Godrej family has shown to India. You know, how they care about the excluded people and how they very, very proactively sort of come forth without being pressured to do so. So these are the gurus. Dr. Kumar Ketkar, of course, my father used to always tell me stories about his thoughts. We grew up with his thoughts, and now I have an opportunity of listening to him in person, but also sharing the dice. So it's a real great honor for me. My father also said that, Sushil, what is the difference between a teacher and a guru? And he said, teacher says, yes, I know this, I will teach you. A guru says, I don't know a lot about this, let us find out, okay? And let us find out, let us traverse the path together and see where this leads to. But in the process, the guru also has a vision. And then he shares the vision with us and he shows us the path. And these are the gurus who have done that. And this book, again with another Kula Guru, is showing us the path. What is Envisioning India? Yes, the book itself says, building a vision for tomorrow, right? So sharing a vision and almost pointing a new finger in the direction that we all need to follow, that this is where we all need to go. And you're right, sir, that it's not just a chronicle of things, it is also the way forward and solutioning. So I absolutely enjoyed reading the book. Dr. Deshmukh is the perfect, I would say, author to write such a book. Why would I say that? Well, his CV is 57 pages long. Okay. I mean, you know, it took me a good few days to read his book, and I said, chalo, now let's read about his CV, and then, oh my God, you know, another 57 pages. But that is the depth and breadth of his knowledge and his work. You know, there are very few people who can not only collect dots, but also connect the dots. And when you connect the dots, you start creating a roadmap. You start creating sort of a pathway, saying that this is how these dots connect. He's also, I think, the right author for this book because I don't know whether you know, but he's also studied law. He's a lawyer, okay? And what do lawyers do? Lawyers operate in the zone of justice, all right? So when we say envision India, can we look at a just future of India, not just a future of India? can we look at a future of just India? Just is where everything is in the zone of justice, where we will have an inclusive India, we will have an India for all citizens and not just a few. And that is why I think his contribution with multiple facets of his knowledge, of his personality, but also his knowledge of law comes very strongly in the chapters that I read. So thank you, sir, for that. When I was reading the book, Professor Deshmukh, I thought I was watching a world-class Oscar-winning documentary. You know, when you read a book, very seldom you start imagining pictures. Very seldom you start imagining voices. And that was my experience. And it felt like, wow, you know, this is a great documentary. And documentaries are generally documenting the past. For the first time, I saw a documentary that was documenting the future. Okay, very nicely. And there I saw, you know, many called it a roadmap. I would call it a master plan. You know, a master plan is all about small plans put together, but also kind of a blueprint for our nation. And Ketkar Sahib, absolutely right. This has to be read by everybody. All students, the 3-year-old, I hope he gets to read your book very soon. Young and old, I think we all have to contribute to our nation, and this book will show us the way. I'm really honored that you asked me to release the digital version of this book. Maybe the digital version will make it more from less for more, and less would be for access. So the price that, sir, you were talking about could be absolutely reduced, because digital allows you to have scale, digital allows you to have reach, digital allows you to have speed, digital allows you to have impact. And that is the power of the digital medium today. The best example is again from one iconic student of Professor M.M. Sharma, and that is Jio, Mr. Mukesh Ambani. All right, and you see what he has built. You see the power of Jio. What did it do? It included the excluded. It gave the power of internet as a basic human right, not to a few Indians, but to most Indians. All right, it is a public good that allows growth and development to happen at the same time. Very few public goods can do that. If you look at Jio, you know, it has provided education, it has provided health, it has provided finance, it has provided business creation, job creation, and of course, knowledge towards the betterment of society. So that is the power of the digital medium. That is a power of a public good. And I'm so happy that this book rides now on that power of a digital medium, and it will reach many people. My grandfather, sir, we talk about 2047. I remember about 1947. My grandfather was a leader in our freedom fight. He fought with Nehru ji and Mahatma Gandhi ji. He was in the jail with Mahatma Gandhi for 3.5 years. He sold 350 acres of his land at that time. And what is the land? I mean, it's just like ancestral land. But he sold it so that we could fund our freedom fight. You know, nobody was doing that. And when we got independence in 1947, he did not embrace the concept of power. He said, I'm going back to my village, a small village, and he said that I'm going to open a public library of books. I'm also going to open a stationery store for young children, like a 3-year-old, and the youth of his village, to be educated enough so that they can contribute to the future of India. And today we are again talking about 2047. I was in South Africa, got the opportunity to meet Nelson Mandela himself. What a great freedom fighter. And recently I visited South Africa, and I was talking to one of my friends, and we both are very passionate about the nation. I spent 7 years there contributing to South Africa and its future. And we talked about what needs to happen? And he said that, Sushil, you know what? We are less optimistic about our own country, but we are very hopeful. I said, Boise, what does that mean? I thought optimism and hope go together. He said, no. Optimism is prediction. And predictions may or may not come true. He said, hope is a plan. You can have hope when you have a plan. And he said, we have a plan. So, we are more hopeful than optimistic. Your book, sir, gives us hope, gives us hope for India, gives us hope for our future, gives us hope to see your 3-year-old build a new India. So thank you so much for giving us that hope.
Thank you very much, sir. So we were listening from a man who hails from the family of freedom fighter, isn't it? And a man who is contributing a lot. And you said it right, sir, when it comes to science, technology, or product, or good, it is well received when it becomes a public good. And that has, you gave the example of Geo. So envisioning India, while envisioning India, yes, we need to take care the things are well received by the public. And as you said, rightly said, Professor Sanjay Deshmukh ji has done law, so he knows the value of just. So just India. Thank you very much for bringing that. So ladies and gentlemen, again, it is our duty to convey our sincere gratitude towards Shri Sushil Borde ji. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And now, it's time to listen from the chief guest of the function, Dr. Firoja J. Godrej ji. And before I invite her, ma'am, I would... ये अलग बात है कि खामोश खड़े रहते हैं, जो लोग बड़े हैं वो बड़े रहते हैं, है ना? वो ये चाहते नहीं कि उनके बारे में कुछ बोला जाए.
Thank you, Prince. Sitting here this evening, Sanjay, I don't know what inspired you to ask me to come. I'm really feel very humbled to be amongst all these luminaries and hearing everyone speak today. This is so non-typical of me, but I will try to do this evening, try to do you proud this evening. The book is... friends in the audience, there are so many from the academic world and from the friends of environmental world especially, and those on the dais. Professor Sharma is a very, very old friend of our family, and always been a pleasure interacting with him and learning from him. And I still sometimes accidentally say UDCT, and I get a rap on the knuckles. But it was amazing to see the figure of the number of PhD students that have been touched by your hand, Professor Sharma. It's absolutely amazing. And may you continue to enjoy very, very good health and guide many more young people, future leaders of our nation, because we need people like you, as we need people like Mr. Ketkar and what Sushil said, and what Sanjay you have said as well, and Sheetal and Chaitanya. It's really very, very heartening. This evening also belongs to some lady who's sitting quietly in the audience, Jyotsna, Sanjay's better half. And I think Shreyan, who's been banished somewhere now. But it's been a pleasure, Sanjay, traveling on this journey with you for, I think, 35 plus years. And I've known of Sanjay. I gave him a surprise gift today of a photograph of a young Sanjay in 1991. Mr. S.P. Godrej is in the middle, and Dr. Swaminathan and Sanjay are on either side, and it was taken in Chennai, and so it's a long, long time even before that. You know, some events and some occasions go quietly and record transitions. But I think this evening, I believe, belongs to the latter. We are not merely witnessing the release of a second edition of a book, and I was there for the first edition, which was like a marriage ceremony, let me tell you. We are in more profound sense pausing to reflect on an ongoing journey, one that seeks to understand India not only as it is, but as it is becoming in front of our very eyes. As I said, my association with Professor Sanjay Deshmukh spans more than 4 decades, a period long enough to witness not only the professional accomplishment, but also the shaping of his very severe self-imposed inner discipline. He joined us as a young man at Godrej, passionate about mangrove conservation, and had a strong working relationship with my late uncle, Mr. Sorab Godrej. Sanjay has been a generous supporter of something that both SP and I have been closely associated with, the National Society of the Friends of the Trees, where I served as a President Emeritus since Sanjay's student times. Over the years, I've come to see in him a rare combination: the rigor of a scholar, the administrative clarity of an institution builder, and most importantly, the quiet depth of a humane mind. Such combinations are not easily cultivated. They really are the result of substantial engagement with both ideas and people. And ideas are there, but to be a people person is really a talent that you're born with. When Sanjay became a trustee of the Sunamai Pirosha Godrej Foundation, our interactions took on a more reflective tone. Those conversations, sometimes brief, sometimes extended, were never confined to immediate concerns of something being chopped, of some wrongdoing in the mangroves. India is a vast country. 9 states of India have mangroves in them. And we work closely in almost all 9 states, definitely very, very well in 7 states. So we often moved almost instinctively toward larger questions. What constitutes progress? How does one reconcile growth with equity? What does it mean for a nation to mature? We're a young nation. These are not questions that admit easy answers, but they must be continued to be asked. Even beyond this book, Sanjay, there are many more questions. In recent years, I've also followed his daily writings. I think this started about 7 years ago. The first message in the morning at about 5 or 5:30 was Sanjay's. And they appear quietly and regularly. There's almost something archival about them. They capture not only the events, but also the mood of the time. They capture the anxieties beneath the surface and the possibilities that often go unarticulated. In that sense, they resemble fragments of a larger narrative, one that this chronicle attempts to gather, structure, and present in a really marvelous way. As I said, I had the privilege of attending the launch of the first edition. That moment, I recall, carried a sense of emergency, of an idea stepping into the public domain. But today, as we stand at the threshold of the second edition, one senses not merely continuation, but a consolidation. The work has deepened, its concerns have sharpened, its relevance has, if anything, become even more immediate, even more urgent. What distinguishes envisioning India is its resistance to simplification. It does not reduce the nation to a single narrative, nor does it offer comfort through easy conclusions. Instead, it approaches India much as a historian or an archaeologist might approach a layered site, aware that beneath every visible structure lies multiple strata, each bearing its own imprint of time, conflict, adaptation, and renewal. Yesterday I was as a lecture by my professor, Dr. Arvind Prijamkhetkar, on archaeology and sites, and we were not talking about 10 decades or 10 centuries even, we were talking about millennia, and how at the bottom of the ocean you find the most ancient archaeological artifacts today. So I know what it is to delve deep into both the physical and the surreal, tangible and intangible, as we're constantly being told. India, as we know, is not a singular entity. This morning I was at a dyslexia conference. This time we were talking about Africa and Asia. Dyslexia is something that's come back to us from the West. The parameters that we use in judging it, our IQ tests, psychological tests, are all coming to us from the West. But they have one language mainly, which is English. We have 26 or 28 nationally recognized languages. Then we have dialects. Then we have unrecorded. I mean, we were in the 1,500 category. Which language do we test these children in? And the most difficult thing is, we're speaking English. It's the toughest language to master. If we were in Finland, we would have no problem. A is A. In English, you have all sorts of combinations. I don't even want to go in how many ways you can pronounce the letter A. A-E, A-I, A-U, all the vowels coming with it is a different pronunciation. Even a simple word like read. I mean, where does the A sound come in the word read? So it's a very, very complex issue for all of us. But we are tackling it. We're tackling it, and we need a lot of support, not only from the Ministry of Health, but the Ministry of Education. Why are we sending our children to hospitals for testing? We were given a very logical answer, because there you have everything. You have the audiologist, you have the optometrist, you have a person with a psychologist. So if there are any other things that we need to touch besides learning disability, they're there. Whereas in other advanced countries, they send them to the education department, and then it's all farmed out. So it's a very complicated issue, and we have 7 million people who are learning disabled. 7 million people is a lot of people, and they are dropping by the wayside. There's so many educationists here, and actually at the end of this thing, I spoke to the Maharashtra Dyslexia, because we're really leading in this state, I'm told, that please go to someone like Nandan Nilankani. If he could create this Aadhaar card and this, and optometry, and everything is being linked into it, I said, I'm ready to go and speak to him. He's a good friend. He's an IITian. And we have to do something for these 7 million. There's technology. We just don't know where it's lying latent. It's there. It's just latent. We have to bring it out. But enough about my experiences, and onward with yours, Sanjay. So what is India? I said, it's not a singular entity. It is a palimpsest written and erased and rewritten across centuries. Its present cannot be understood without awareness of its past. One of the speakers mentioned that. And its future cannot be imagined without a careful reading of both the past and the present. It is within this framework that this chronicle that we release today situates itself. It begins by acknowledging that we stand at a moment of transition. The years following the 2024 general elections are not merely another phase in governance. They mark a period when aspirations must be translated into structures, and intent must find expression both in policy and practice. From this point of departure, the work unfolds across 7 thematic arcs, each examining a critical dimension of our national life. These themes and the 52 chapters that animate them are not isolated inquiries. They're interconnected explorations, each one illuminating the other. The emphasis on education, for instance, extends beyond access or infrastructure. It is understood as a civilizational imperative, a means by which societies transmit not only knowledge, but also something very, very important, which we still cling to in India, which is values. Values, 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 we keep on saying. You can't buy values to children. Values can't be caught. Then what, miss? I said, catch them. They have to be caught. That's the only way you can teach children values. And we also as adults have to remember that all the time. Our memory and the capacity for renewal. In this, the chronicle echoes a long-standing truth. No society can aspire to leadership without first investing in the intellectual and moral formation of its people. That's all of us. Similarly, the discussion on social justice moves beyond policy prescriptions to engage with deeper questions, as I said, of equity. It recognizes that historical imbalances cannot be connected by isolated interventions. They require sustained attention, institutional sensitivity, and a commitment to dignity as a foundational principle. The sections on economic growth are equally nuanced in the book. They acknowledge the need for expansion, innovation, global integration, while cautioning against models that disregard sustainability. We have to keep using this word because our population, at least in our country, is growing. How long can we sustain it with our national resources? We are in a crisis stage. I don't want to go into that chapter today. Everybody reads about it all the time. In this framework, growth is not an end in itself. It is a means towards a more balanced and resilient society. And I think equally compelling is the treatment of governance and civic engagement. Here the chronicle returns to a principle that has animated democracies across time. Institutions derive their strength not merely from design, but from participation. A citizenry that is informed, engaged, and responsible becomes, in effect, the custodians of our democratic process. The attention to environmental stewardship and urban transformation further extends this vision. It situates India within a global context, recognizing the challenges of climate, against sustainability, and a rapidly urbanizing society, which is actually transcending all national boundaries now. In doing so, it invites us to view India not in an isolated entity, but as a participant in a larger human endeavor. And what emerges from these explorations is not a single thesis, but a mosaic complex, layered, reflective in diversity, and it also seeks to represent all these at one time. And upon reflection, the heart of the mosaic lies within this idea that Viksit Bharat by 2047. If I were living, I think I'll be 100 years old. Not possible. Anyway, we have to hope. It carries both aspiration and responsibility. To envision a developed India is to grapple with a series of questions. What kind of development do we seek? Who does it include? What values will guide it? And perhaps most importantly, how do we ensure that progress does not come at the cost of cohesion? The Chronicle does not attempt to resolve these questions in a definitive way. Instead, it creates a space for their examination. It encourages dialogue not only between disciplines, but also between generations, institutions, and between the state and the citizens. In a sense, the work serves both intellectual and civic functions. It contributes to creation of what might call a shared consciousness. Can I have some water? A collective awareness that a nation's future is not predetermined but constructed through choices, actions, and above all, participation. Excuse me. As I reflect on this present moment, I am reminded that we live in times of considerable uncertainty, Sanjay. The global order is in a flux. Technological transformations are reshaping economies and societies, and boundaries between the local and the global are increasingly porous. In such a context, the need for thoughtful, grounded, and inclusive frameworks becomes even more pronounced. And I think this book has some answers. This work really gains significance precisely because it resists this fragmentation. It attempts instead to hold together multiple strands to create coherence where there might otherwise be dispersion. And yet, for all its scope, the Chronicle remains deeply personal. It reflects the journey of the author, his engagements, his observations, his convictions. It is in many ways a testament to what sustained reflection can yield when combined with a sense of purpose. I would also like to acknowledge the ecosystem that has been established with this work to reach a wider audience. The publishers need to be complimented, who have ensured, as you have heard today, its accessibility. The reviewers who have engaged with it critically, and the many individuals who have contributed directly or indirectly to its evolution. Such collaborations are essential because ideas gain strength when they are shared. Everything gets better if we share them. And I think this e-book will achieve that far more rapidly as well. In closing, I would like to return to where I began, with the concept of transition. We often speak of milestones as markers of achievement, but perhaps more importantly, there are moments of pause, opportunities to reflect, recalibrate, and renew our commitment. The release of this second edition is one such moment. It invites us to look ahead, but with the awareness of the paths that we have already traveled. It encourages us to imagine, but with a sense of responsibility. And it reminds us that the making of a nation is not a singular act, but a continuous process, one that demands thought, effort, and above all, once again, a shared purpose. If envisioning India succeeds in furthering that purpose, it will have served a very, very meaningful role. I congratulate you, Professor Deshmukh, on this remarkable work and extend my best wishes for its continued journey, not only into classrooms, not only into institutions, but to the Government of India. I can add that. And into minds of those young people who will shape India's tomorrow. Thank you very, very much, Sanjay. Thank you. Sorry, I always get a frog in my throat. Thank you, Prince, for bringing the water.
कहते हैं कि अहम जिनमें कम होता है, अहमियत उन्हीं की ज़्यादा होती है, और इसका जीता जागता उदाहरण हम सुन रहे थे। मतलब थैंक यू वेरी मच मैम, वी नो यू आर वेरी हम्बल। और मैडम ने कहा कि नहीं, मेरे बारे में कुछ नहीं कहा जाए, और जो कुछ भी कहा इन्होंने कहा इस तरह से कहा कि एक एक शब्द में पूरी भावनाएं समेटे हुए थी। यू सेड इट राइट मैम, if envisioning India is to be written and the roadmap is to be made, then we need to understand the past of India, present of India, then only the future can be made. You said it right. And then once you said the values cannot be bought, we cannot buy the values. It needs to be lived and then earned and then inculcated into human being. Thank you very much ma'am for bringing, जी हाँ, जोरदार तालियाँ, स्वाहा बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़े। बहुत बड़ी शख्सियत हमसे मुखातिब थी, बहुत ही भावपूर्ण शब्दों में इन्होंने अपनी बात को रखा। एंड मैडम, आफ्टर यू आई हैव जस्ट लेफ्ट द पेपर देयर इटसेल्फ, बिकॉज मैं सबके बारे में पढ़ रहा हूँ, थिंग्स आर देयर रिटन ऑन द पेपर अबाउट देम। फिर मुझे भी ये ख्याल आ रहा है बीच बीच में, और थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर मेकिंग माई जॉब ईजी, कि एक कागज़ के टुकड़े पर इतनी बड़ी शख्सियत को बयां कैसे कर सकते हैं हम, है ना? हो ही नहीं सकता। और अब हमें जिनको सुनना है उनको अगर मैं कागज पढ़ के बुलाऊं तो ये तो बहुत ही छोटी बात हो। मतलब सूरज को हम दिया दिखा रहे हैं, मतलब जिनको हम कह सकते हैं राष्ट्रगुरु, ऑफ कोर्स, भीष्म पितामह, ज्ञान के विज्ञान के भीष्म पितामह, देश के दुनिया के जाने माने वैज्ञानिक, और आज के हमारे कार्यक्रम के अध्यक्ष। मैं कितना भी उनके बारे में बोलूं वो कम है, इसीलिए आप और हम मिल करके उनके सम्मान में, उनका आह्वान करने के लिए खड़े होकर के उनको आमंत्रित करेंगे। यस लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, लेट अस गिव द स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन टू पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर M.M. Sharma ji and invite him on the dais. Sir, requesting your gracious presence, we all await the words of wisdom from you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma ji. Sir, over to you.
Our hero of the day, Professor Dr. Deshmukh. You know, scholarly writing is a very arduous job. Kirkar sahab, you will agree. You've done an admirable job. I compliment you. He has been a prolific writer. I think every now and then he writes on the contemporary topics. I greatly appreciate his endeavors. I'm writing a book of this kind. Our country is a great one, past history, culture, and in envisaging India, I like to point out some few things, how science has made such a great impact on what every politician wants to say, all-inclusive growth. And I pick up the great mobile phone as the first example. Everybody has. How we have made this business of all-inclusive growth through a mobile phone, and every element in the mobile phone is a product of high science. Every. Please look into whether there is screen. Any part of mobile phone is a product of high science. How science of biology has made an impact on all of us through vaccines. People don't realize how fundamental research is so important. And my view in envisaging India is that India should go gung-ho on supporting fundamental science. Unfortunately, except for one institute in India which is named Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, we don't have any. And you never find this in the vocabulary of any of our politicians, that we need to strengthen basic research, fundamental research. And I like to quote fairly recently the statement made by President of China, who happens to be a chemical engineer belonging to my tribe, when he says, China should concentrate on fundamental research so that we invent and do not import technology. How nice it would be to envisage India where we become globally acclaimed inventors. Unless you invent, you cannot innovate. And the way word innovation is being used in India so loosely, it bothers me. In envisaging India, I like to pay very heavy emphasis on primary education. And primary education is being dealt with very badly in India. Rural India in particular. And many organizations under CSR are giving a helping hand, but would be much better that lot of, instead of starting engineering colleges and all, we should start affordable, high-class primary schools in nook and corner of, because that is what builds. Similarly, education amongst women. I'll give you, I came from Rajasthan. You'll be surprised, there were hardly any local lady doctors. And through orthodoxy, Marwadi women will not go to a male doctor. Won't easily. And it was long time ago, soon after independence, that what was Rajputana decided that 1/3 of the seats in the only medical college in the whole state in Jaipur will be for women. And I tell you what a major difference it made within 10 years. Today, of course, there is a big debate going on in Parliament. I do not know the consequences of that. But women power is exceedingly important in envisaging India. Women's education, particularly amongst communities where education amongst women has been found wanting. Maharashtra, of course, has a high tradition, very, very high tradition of education amongst women. And therefore, you can see the picture about scientists even. Some of the earliest scientists were women from Maharashtra. It's very laudable. But talking about this fundamental research, I want to give you 2-3 more examples just to tell you. And I keep on harping on your title, envisaging. I'm envisaging India in a manner somewhat different from how you have written. What you have written is admirable. See, if you want breakthroughs, some things which changes fundamentals of business. In agriculture, which is very dear to your heart, tomorrow's agriculture is not going to depend upon yesterday's technology. You want breakthroughs, you want very, very fundamental research. Can we grow plants on brackish water or even sea water? We have 7,000 kilometers. We would never have any shortage of sea water. We need major breakthrough in coming out with a technology where you can grow crops. After all, nature has given a casurana grows and you see coconut tree and all that. We, as a populous country, less and less land will be available and more food and quality food will be required. How will this happen without fundamental research? Something which we are not able to imagine but will happen tomorrow, just like how Xerox came in. When NMR came in, when you do high science, you never know how far it will go. So I want to harp upon our greatest piece of work in India, Raman effect. After almost, you can say, 90 years plus, people are finding newer and newer applications of Raman effect, including security at airport. Raman effect. When people worked on lasers, nobody knew that lasers will be used in backyards by artisans to cut diamond. Forget about laser eye surgery or laser for pulmonary TB. Similarly, when magnetic resonance came in, nobody knew 5 Nobel Prizes in that it will be the part of vocabulary of an ordinary person. Everybody knows MRI. They were very clever chaps, didn't use the word nuclear because it might deter, but they don't realize that how nuclear medicine, you see all the spin outs, what happened from the nuclear program. Look at the efficacy of nuclear medicine, that without much effort, you inject something and you are able to get through software an output of how much blood is flowing into your heart. Isn't it a great marvel of our high science? Everybody uses the word RO without knowing what RO stands for. Pani wala will also tell you, RO ka pani hai. But इसे भी RO क्या होता है वो मत पूछो. Similarly, during COVID time, the word PSA went into vocabulary of just about everyone. PSA आ गया, PSA आ गया. अरे भाई PSA क्या ये तो बताओ. It is my community of chemical engineers who developed pressure swing adsorption so that you could get pure nitrogen or pure oxygen, relatively pure oxygen. So what impact it has made? It has made impact on several fronts. You want to transport fruit over a long distance, let's say from Kashmir or Himachal Pradesh for 1,500 kilometers. You can have a pressure swing adsorption unit mounted on the truck so that you have nitrogen inside, atmosphere of nitrogen and not oxygen. Yeah. And you can preserve the food. The sum and substance is that India has all the capabilities, but it's tragic that when we are forced to say genes genes flower in Silicon Valley, not within our country. And I have reflected on this subject, why from India real innovations of global importance are not easily coming. And in my judgment, most important element of our cultural heritage of not owning failures. Failures are harbingers of success. We don't recognize failure. In management system also, see, there is quite a conflict between so-called management systems and creativity. You want certainty in management, creativity thrives on uncertainty. I want to envisage an India where you give freedom for people to try out new ideas, take the risk, own the failures. Unless you own the failures, you will not have success. And this is where we need to change our attitudes. And somehow we should collectively keep on stressing the importance of basic research. Where, there was a mention about funding. You can spend so much money on the, all right, in cultural event, whether it is this event or that event, when you put so much money. I remember once, I don't want to mention the name of the finance minister. I said, why, please, many, 20, 25 years ago, please give us money equal to one fighter bomber. What difference it will make to research in universities? I was shocked when that finance minister said, do universities do research? So the level of understanding, universities should not be known for conducting examinations. Universities should be known for what they have contributed in terms of, in any area. I was other day mentioning how come in Maharashtra, in Bombay, we don't have an eminent department of Marathi, Sanskrit. In Kolhapur, I happened to give convocation address, and I found more PhDs in Hindi than in Marathi. I said, this Hindi is welcome, but what about PhDs in Marathi, Languages have a big role to play. See, culture, science is also a cultural activity. When people say, what are you doing? I say, science is also cultural activity. So, I always say teachers in higher education, it is where I want to compliment Professor Deshmukh. Our first job is to stick to as good a teaching as we are capable. That is our first charge. In higher education, we have to be also measured by research, and research is measured by publications in learned journals. There is no other. And don't worry about citation index and all. And I can quote you, former president of Royal Society saying, it doesn't matter where you publish rather than what you published. So this, the kind of changes that we should have in India to become inventors. Grassroots people have done many good jobs. I will take you to a very simple example after the war and after independence, how the transport system in Delhi was changed. The old motorcycle was converted into transport system, put the chassis, 6 people, 8 people could go. That was an Indian innovation. So there are many things which, for example, within India, very trivial example I want to give, sachet. It didn't come out from any management school. Today you can get anything in a sachet, from hair oil to pan masala, and name it, everything, detergent. And it's affordable because those who don't have money for larger pack, they can buy. So these innovations, these ideas can come from anyone. Lastly, I want to say that many of these fantastic ideas have come through serendipity. It's amazing. Low density polyethylene was serendipitous, Teflon was serendipitous, insulin was serendipitous, anesthesia was serendipitous, but serendipity never occurred to uninitiated person. We always give example of penicillin, Fleming's. Serendipity doesn't strike uninitiated persons. And we should be on lookout for unusual results while we are doing research and pursue that. I'd say with due humility that we had such kind of experience that we are pursuing something and we found something very interesting, completely change our path of pursuing that work. I think we have had a very good function. I want to compliment each and every speaker. I feel very embarrassed about good things being said about. I don't deserve all this. Please don't take for granted what people have been saying about me. I have been a teacher all my life. I like to be known as a teacher. I love to be in company of students. Even today, I never turned down an invitation to go to a school or a college. Only a few days ago, I went to Junjunwala College. Later, I'm going to go to Delhi Public School. I want to conclude by complimenting the publishers, Sheetal and Shivanand, for an excellent job they have done. Of course, they did a fabulous job, and Anita is here for my life, my biography. I came from a small place, never imagined that I will end up with all these kinds of honors and your love and gratitude. Thank you so much, and once again, kudos. Do come out with the third edition. You might be ready. Thank you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was from the living legend, Padma Vibhushan, Professor M.M. Sharma ji. And you said it right, sir. There are takeaways, few takeaways. Fundamental research is the area, need to be focused. Science is a cultural activity. Invention can result in innovations. So, if we want to do innovations, we need to do inventions. And you should own the failure. ये बहुत बड़ी बात थी जो आज हमें सीखने के लिए है. तो ये जो 4-5 मतलब बहुत इन्होंने एक शब्द जो कहा है पद्म विभूषण प्रोफेसर M.M. शर्मा जी ने, हर एक शब्द हमारे हृदय में संजोने के लायक है. बस एक बात, ओनिंग द फेलियर से जो मुझे सोहनलाल द्विवेदी जी की बात याद आती है, शर्मा साहब के शब्दों से वो निकाल करके, कि असफलता, फेलियर की बात की, असफलता एक चुनौती है, स्वीकार करो. असफलता एक चुनौती है, स्वीकार करो. क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो. जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम. संघर्षों का मैदान छोड़ मत भागो तुम. कुछ किए बिना ही कभी जय जयकार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती. So this was the message given by Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma ji. Sir, thank you very much. और आइए साथियों, इस समय हम सभा के बिल्कुल समापन की ओर अग्रसर हैं. We are just proceeding ahead with the concluding part, and before we disperse, it is a duty to present the vote of thanks, and to do that, I would request Madam Shivani Dhuri ji to kindly come on the dais and present the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. As we come close to this inspiring evening, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I extend my deepest gratitude to Padma Vibhushan Professor M.M. Sharma sir for presiding over this function. So your presence and your words are always source of immense inspiration, and we are truly honored by your guidance today. I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Firoza Godrej ma'am, Chairperson of Godrej Archives Council. Your gracious presence and insightful address have enriched this occasion. Our sincere thanks to our guest of honors, Mr. Sushil Borde sir, Head of the Reliance Innovation Leadership Center. Sir, your thoughts and encouragement have both been valuable and inspiring. Thank you, Padma Shri Kumar Ketkar sir, a visionary journalist and public intellectual. Shri Chaitanya Joshi sir, an innovator and founder of C-Tech Corporation. Thank you for your valued presence and being a part of this occasion. Our heartfelt congratulations and thanks to the author, Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir, for presenting us Envisioning India 2nd edition. I would also like to thanks and extend my sincere appreciation to Mrs. Sheetal Bagwe ma'am and Shivanand sir, founder of SAMS Digital and Sundaram Digital Publication House, whose efforts have been instrumental in bringing this event together. Okay, so behind every successful event is a dedicated team. I would like to thank all the organizers, coordinators, and volunteers who made this evening possible. Thank you, each and every one of you present in audience, your time and your engagement. Your participation truly made this evening meaningful. With that, we conclude this memorable event. Thank you and have a great evening. And thank you for our host. Please have an applause for him. He had made this evening possible and a very energetic. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the host.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Right. We'll have the group photo, but before that, let us all rise for national anthem, and then we will have the group photos. Yes. So we'll rise for national anthem, requesting all of you to please rise.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे
गाड़ी में ही रखवाने
Okay. I think it's with Chaitrali. I mean, phone किसको दिया था? मैंने बैग शिवानी या चैत्राली किसी को दी थी.
careful with this. Huh?